Hi everyone. We're just going to start in about 2-3 minutes. Just wait. Just give me 2 minutes, please. Yes. Hi.
Hello. Hi,
Hello. How
Anshul.
are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
Very well. Yes.
Just gonna try and balance this. Yes.
I
Hello
totally
to
agree.
everyone joining in.
So,
How are
should
you
we?
doing, Anshul?
Very well. How are you doing? How's
Yeah,
your day?
I'm fine. I'm fine, thank you. How's my day going? Well, Sunday is slightly relaxed for me. My students have a long class, but I kind
Okay.
of my senior students take their class, and I interfere if only if I needed to. So
Okay.
I
So you
get to spend a little more
supervise.
time with those today. Yeah, more relaxed today. And the weather is changing again, it's very overcast today here, at least in Pune.
Yes, here as well. Like there are days
Yeah,
when it's kind of like bearable and not so hot, but yeah,
yeah,
overall it's quite bad otherwise.
yeah.
So we have quite a lot of people joining us right now.
Yeah.
Should we should we begin or should we wait for a minute and have some more people with
I
us?
think, yeah, we'll just wait for another minute or so, maybe. And
Yes.
yeah.
Great.
Can you see me and hear me okay?
Yes, I think that's
Yeah.
fine. I'm just gonna set it a little
Okay.
more. We have a lot
Hi,
of people
Radhika.
saying that they love your dance and they're so happy to be watching you right now.
Thank you. Thank you all. I hope today's talk adds a little fun or a little value to everyone
Yes,
who's
I think
watching.
today's agenda is to let people understand that, there is so much more to life than what we're running around, for our work, for our professions, for careers. And people don't understand that there is so much more that we've been doing in this lockdown right now and how we should be
Yeah.
continuing on the journey, even once the lockdown is lifted.
Yeah.
So, okay, we have about 60 viewers now. I think we could
We can go
start.
ahead if you. Yes, go ahead.
Right. So, for all our viewers here right now, let's begin by talking a little about your journey, your background, and what led you to choose this beautiful dance as your profession.
Um, so for me, I talked about this quite a bit in the past, but just in brief, what got me into a Kathak class was my mother. I think, like most young children and students, it was my mother's dream that I learn a classical dance form.
Mm-hmm.
And she was quite, I mean, we were lucky that we had someone as illustrious living so close to us,
Right.
Yogini Gandhiji.
Right.
That's how my journey began. I started as a child. I was about almost 8, 7.5 years old when I started learning.
Okay.
And it wasn't a love affair from the beginning or anything. It took me a long time before I started to really appreciate the art form, appreciate my guru, appreciate her strictness, which a lot of children, I mean, you can't really expect a child to appreciate it.
Right.
So that took a long time. And she was very hardcore and very, very old school when it came to teaching an art form and I mean, the kind of discipline expected from each student. So it took
So,
me a while before I really got
why?
into it.
So you were saying you were very young when you started, and then
Yeah.
at what age did you realize that this is your calling, like this is what you want to continue, and you want this to be your path for the rest of your
What?
life?
Well, I think it was after I did my degree in economics.
Okay.
At and through all of that, through my school, through my college, I never stopped dancing. Like dance class was a permanent, has always been. I don't
Okay.
think I've gone. I've never had a long phase or long break from it or anything like that. So it's been a constant from the beginning. And right through college as well, I was always torn between college and dance class, college and dance class. Everyone at dance class kept thinking I was always in college and not available enough for rehearsals. Like at the drop of a hat, I wasn't, and then similarly in college, they thought, oh, this girl doesn't come for lectures half the time because she's in dance class. So there was this constant, battle between the two, which I know there are so many of my students who are facing that now between college and class or work and class. And it's hard, but it's okay. Like that's just how it has to be for some time. And I
Correct.
think after I finished my degree, I didn't know what I wanted to pursue further. I wasn't sure. I said, yeah, of course I'll do a master's. Everybody does a master's. Everyone around me was doing a master's. But in what? And so I took the decision that year to take a year's break after I graduated.
Okay.
And I decided to spend a year doing only dance
Oh,
and
lovely.
teaching and performing and learning under my guru.
Okay.
And I said, I'll take a year, and within this year, I'll figure out what else I would like to study. And it was within that year, the irony was that my guru shut her class down the same
Oh,
because she didn't want to continue teaching all the kids and so many students. She wanted to just focus on a handful of her senior
right.
students.
Right.
And so I took up, I basically started my own independent class with all these other students who still wanted to continue learning. So that's how my journey as an independent dancer, not independent dancer, but independent teacher
Teacher.
started.
So it's been a
Yes,
quite an organic journey for you, since the
very
very beginning.
organic. And I
That's
think it was only, and there were some performance opportunities that I got here and there, nothing major, but a little bit here and there, some experience started coming. I wasn't so good when even I wasn't a great dancer or anything. I
actually
was
that's very
okay.
hard to believe. I mean, that's very hard to believe when you say that
No,
you
in
weren't so
fact, I
good.
think I'm gonna start sharing videos of my past life. My past life dance videos are hideous, and not just to me. I mean, like all over like people are gonna be like, "Oh, that's quite a transformation." I think I'm gonna
Wow.
start sharing.
So
But it was
talking
only
about
once I moved to Singapore. I think I moved to Singapore when I got married at the age of 24. And that was what kind of catapulted me into this thing where I realized how desperately, more than ever, without my guru and without my students, more than ever, I realized how much I missed my dance and I needed it. And even there, like step by step, organically, like I started creating opportunities for myself as a performer. So it's been quite organic in that
quite
sense.
so
Yeah.
talking about
No.
your experiences, there was one
Yeah.
thing that you mentioned was that you danced with Deepika in Padmavat in the song
Yeah.
Mohirang Gopal. How was
Yeah.
that experience and how did that come about?
That happened because I was fortunate enough to receive an invitation to perform at a festival in Mumbai that was organized by Maharaji's Institute. So he saw me. I mean, he's seen me in his workshop before, but I think that was the first time that he noticed me.
Right.
And so I performed there and I learned at the workshop, and it was immediately after the workshop that we got a call. A few of us got a call saying that this opportunities come up, these projects come up, and we would like to be part of it. And I lived in Singapore at the time, but I didn't even think. I said yes. So I flew down to Bombay, and I did the project at Film City
That's
in
amazing.
Bombay,
That
and that
sounds really fascinating.
just timing, like lucky, perfect timing. I happened to get that project just 2 weeks or something before, like the performance just 2 weeks before this
Oh, so
film
you only
project.
had 2 weeks to prepare and practice and rehearse to
I
be
didn't
on
have to,
that.
no, no, no. We just had to show up and then the rehearsals began together. All the dancers with Maharaji and Deepika, like the process started together. I didn't have to prepare. Yeah.
Talking about such experiences, being in on the stage, being under the limelight, we had a question yesterday where somebody said that
Yeah.
given your height, why didn't you ever take up modeling? And you once
Oh,
wrote that you did try for Miss India, but you did not go ahead with it because of something that didn't make you feel so great about yourself. So what was that
well,
about?
I didn't get picked. It's very simple. I didn't go ahead because they didn't pick me.
No,
I would have
there was
otherwise.
more to
So,
it. I think you said more to it that you were in your
yeah.
best shape possible and you looked great at that time, which you do now also. But you said that at that point in
In a
time, you
different way,
wanted.
I did. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was slimmer. I wasn't fitter, but fit didn't matter to me so much. I think I was 19 years old, and
Okay.
fit didn't matter so as much as slim did back then. And I was
Right.
smaller or slimmer than this size or whatever. And I made it through to the top 100 or whatever from all the thousands of applications that came for the. And so we were called to Bombay for further screening and all of that. And it's funny how, like, I was very honestly like a kid who grew up watching Miss India and watching pageants. And there was somewhere this thing where I was like, oh, this is such a cool, fascinating world of beautiful girls. And okay, I was totally one of those girls. And then my mom was the one who was like, oh, like, she was all like YOLO without YOLO. But she said, go do it, try it. So I went. And then once I went there, I just got this very strange vibe, you know. And I don't know, like this whole like, can you put some bronzer on me? Or can you put some bronzer on me? Can you put some more bronzer? And I'm like, she already put bronzer like 6 times. How much more bronzer did she? So, you know, but that was just like this, like just young girls. I think they all got sucked into this world. And and they told me, and I felt a little, obviously I felt upset at the time, but they told me, they said you have the height and you have the looks, but if you want to get into Miss India and into modeling, you have to lose oodles of weight.
Oh my
Those were
God.
his words. Yeah,
Oh my
oodles of
God.
weight. So I just said, oh, okay, whatever. And I didn't, and they picked all the skinny ones. They didn't pick all the nice looking ones or the vivacious ones. If they had their priorities set.
Right.
I
Right.
just came feeling like, I'll,
Inadequate.
where's my pepperoni pizza? Hello, Domino's. Where is my pepperoni pizza? Like, I don't need it.
So,
So, but then
at that
again,
point,
if they had picked me, I would have been like, oh, great, I love that. But it just changed my perspective at around that time. I realized that I
so
didn't.
I think there's so many other girls out here who kind of in some way or the other have gone through something like this, where they think that they're looking great, which I feel all of us have the right to feel that way about ourselves. And
Yes,
then someone comes and
yeah,
labels you as not so good looking, not so thin, not so fat, and so many are affected by that in such a large
yeah,
way. So,
yes.
what message do you think you would like to give out to the youngsters out there that they should not get affected by such kind of comments or labeling by other people?
I think it's a really hard journey for girls when it comes to something like, because this is conditioning from the time we're very, very young. And when you're saying conditioning, it means something that becomes very deeply ingrained. So I think it's a bit of a struggle. And in so many ways, like just as much as there is fat shaming, there's also skinny shaming. Like I had friends who were very skinny, and it took them a long time before they came out and said, hey, you know what, just because you're not supposed to say anything to a fat girl, what makes you think you can say whatever you want to me all the time and say I'm not eating enough, or do I keep throwing up? Like, it's people just say mean stuff, without realizing the impact it's having on a girl, especially. I think we
Right.
grew up with it. So it's taken me time to realize that what we do, first of all, is with ourselves in the long term is much more powerful than what we look like. And investing that time in yourself and your skills and therefore your confidence, and not just, you know, yes, confidence comes from good looks for sure. I think that's undeniable. I don't think we need to deny that. But I think for me, I realize now that what I can do with myself and my skill and my time and how I invest my time in developing myself is far more important. So I think the only message I would like to give out to people is, don't just stand in front of the mirror and make the judgments about yourself based on what society has brainwashed you into thinking about you. Instead, spend your time, forget about them. Spend your time doing things that you're good at and you want to get better at and you want to invest your time in, and more confidence, if not the same, even more confidence can come out of being really good at something. And in the long run, people will respect you and they will admire you for what you can do rather than just what you look like on the outside.
I think you're
Yeah.
absolutely right there, because even in today's time and moving forward, you rightly said that it's so important to invest in your own self. And
Yeah.
I would like to elaborate as a brand, as a designer also in my label
Yeah.
at Kapraha. I think like we as a label, we celebrate womanhood, that no matter what shape and size you're coming in, whatever you're wearing should make you feel younger, joyful, happy, at the end of the day. And
And
no piece
yourself,
of garment should make
comfortable and
you, and
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah,
Absolutely. That should
yeah,
that should how that's what I feel like you should do. That's a favor you can do to yourself at the end of the day, just to
yeah,
be truly who you are and just be happy in whatever you're
yeah,
doing.
yeah.
Right. So talking about body and mind, tell us a little about your fitness routine, and how do you manage your profession along with a very good routine, and how should one kind of put that into balance in a good way?
So on one level, my career does depend on my fitness as a dancer. It does depend on fitness. So obviously, it's a priority. But the second thing is, personally for me, I feel it's hard to imagine, but I think that even if I wanted answer, I still would have been very into fitness because it's just something that I got into when I was very young. Again, because I had to keep being told, oh, girls have to be slim and girls have to, especially tall girls, because when tall girls are big, you end up looking very large overall, which it's fine. If you're healthy, it's fine. I think that's the priority and that's the message you need to start giving both girls and boys.
Mhm.
That as long as you're fit, as long as you're healthy, as long as you're aiming to living a disease-free life, and I think that is what the aim is with fitness, mental well-being, mental fitness. This is,
So
I
important.
think, more of a message that I would want to give my son or my students around me. It's not so much about looking a certain way. So especially now more than ever, although I started not learning, but getting into fitness and all of that when I was in my teen years. Um, but now more than ever, like I said before, I think um, the aim here is to really have a very holistic approach to fitness. So by that I mean that I always make sure that my weekly routine targets strength training. So
Okay.
even without the gym, I have started going back to the gym after my pregnancy,
Hmm.
but basically training, so lifting weights or in current times using resistance bands or body weight to add resistance, whatever it is. But strength training, flexibility and strength which comes together
Hmm.
with yoga. And
All
also
right.
yoga brings so much more, that control of the breath and that inner peace, inner balance. There's a lot of advantages, of course, of yoga. So strength training, yoga, and cardio. So cardio happens a lot with the dance practice itself.
Right.
Plus,
Right.
once a week, I might do like an HIIT, high intensity
Okay.
interval training
All right.
session. Yeah,
So
about
it's
30
a mix
minutes.
of many different things that you follow together in your routine, and
Yeah,
there's
for me, this is what you call cross training.
right.
Cross training basically means that you don't do only yoga all week.
Hmm.
You and for me personally, I've learned and seen the advantages that all these three things have given my body. And only once I started incorporating all of these things did I really see results and see progress, which I hadn't in all the years before that I've been into fitness. But so for me, this has been especially strength training. I used to be like, oh, forget gyms. Now I don't like gyms anymore. But I've realized now in the last year, especially how strength training has been quite a game changer.
That's one of the most important parts of your fitness routine, is
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. So you mentioned pregnancy, and I know that you gave birth to a very, very cute boy just a little over a year.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I'm sure motherhood brings all its joy and excitement, but I'm sure a lot of challenges as well.
Oh,
So
yes.
can you
Every
please
mom
elaborate?
out there. Shout out to every mom out there who knows exactly what you just said.
So,
Yeah.
balancing a great fitness routine, balancing your baby, balancing dance, balancing family. Not In what ways do you think that have you been in a situation where you have felt that, oh my God, there is a lot going on with me, and those moments of when you kind of break down and you feel like you're not able to manage so many things.
Yeah.
In those moments, how did you bring yourself up again and come back with all that vigor and energy?
Yeah. Motherhood itself, the decision is a big one when you decide to do it. And I think it hits people at different stages. The reality of the change that it has brought into your life hits you at different stages. It could be from the very beginning, or some people have smooth sailing in the beginning, and then when the baby is a little older and is a little more demanding of your time and your attention, it could hit you then. So for me, it was the latter. For me, initial stage was much more easygoing. And I think it was when Zoe was about a year old that I
Okay.
really started feeling that I felt drawn so much between him and my dance. And because I felt equally committed to both. And I'm saying that even as a mom, I'm not ashamed to say that I feel equally committed to my dance as I do to my baby. I'm just being honest. This is how I feel when I wake up in the morning. I really also want to be here at the studio, you know?
Right.
So yeah, so I think that the the realization of that was quite challenging to accept, that my life has changed and I need to figure it out better. And yes, I think like a lot of mothers, I've had breakdowns almost every 2 days, every 3 days, where I'm trying to just figure out and process what am I doing. I've gone through a low phase sometime around Jan Feb. I wrote a post about it, about me trying to, why am I trying to juggle so many things? Is it for me? And I just had like an inward moment of reflection where I was trying to just figure out how much of this do I really need to do?
Right.
What do I need to prioritize out of all these things, and what can I let go of a little bit to still maintain my, you know, um, sanity and my well-being, mental well-being.
So adding
So
to
I
this,
think, yeah,
sometimes
no, I think
we
all
mothers.
I just try to sit down and even write. Like for me, writing helps. So I just try to sit down and make a list for myself, like what are the most important things, what can I let go of a little bit, and it's tough, but having a little help around you also uh, is important, whether it's your spouse, your partner, or your parents, or your in-laws, or paid help, whoever it is, just to help kind of take the load off so you can get a little me time.
Right. Talking about me
Yeah.
time, many women have this mother's guilt that they're choosing to do something for themselves or for the
Mm,
others or for their career over their
mm,
child. And most often they feel that they can't, that they're so guilty about, not giving their baby enough attention that they kind of start giving up on, things that they love to do otherwise. And
yeah.
in fact, we had a question yesterday wherein somebody's asking us that she's finding it very difficult to balance between a baby and her partner and other family members, and she's
Mm,
at a loss at how to really manage both of them at the same time.
mm.
So, in that case, like, what would your one tip be that to be sane in situations like that?
I've talked from my own, I don't have that much experience in the world of motherhood. It's only been 16 months. But
Yes.
from whatever my experience is and from my friends who are now mothers, what I have come to learn is that there is no life of a mother without the guilt. No matter how you spend your time and how you divide your time and how perfectly you're dividing your time at this point of time, there is no life without guilt. And I don't think, none of us think that you can have it all, you
Right.
know, and without the guilt. I think you have to, it is a challenge to divide your time between your work, between your personal well being and your fitness, whatever it is, and then, of course, your baby, and your personal life, let's say, with your spouse, your family, whoever. Dividing that time and making a weekly routine for yourself that allows you to integrate all these things in a balanced way is possible, but I don't think the guilt ever fully leaves the mother at any point. You know,
Right.
this is from what I've spoken to my um, friends about as well. And I just feel that finally, you just have to do your best. And I think every mother and every woman has that instinct of, what is good for me, what is good for my baby, what's good for my family. And you just need to keep working at it, because the baby is also constantly growing. Your child is growing. Your child every few months has a different routine, especially at this age, like
At
as
this
a
age.
new mom. As a new mom, every few months is something different. So even for me, it's a massive challenge that I need to, like, in the last few days, I've totally revamped my routine again. Just when I got used to the previous routines, those in a new routine, and now I have to work with it. So if
All of
something is important for you, you just have to find a way to work with the new circumstance. Like the way all of us are just working with COVID and figuring
right.
out our lives with it. It's exactly like that. If it's important to you, you just have to find a way, and you need to ask for help, whoever it is. Even if you cannot afford paid help, then ask those around you to help you. and you need time off. I think all moms need time off to feel better and to be better moms and to be more present. When they are present, then you feel more present when you've had a little bit of time to yourself. So, and even for those who aren't mothers, the balancing life in general is hard. It may not be a baby, but it may be a job that's eating
Right.
up your time and you feel like you just don't have the time, but you just have to make the time. Everyone has 24 hours in the day, and you've got to decide what you need to do to feel better. Instead of just find a solution, instead of just problem stating, you got to problem solve and you got to find a solution and figure it out for yourself. And we all have that instinct, we all have that capacity.
The
and
capacity.
and, and the guilt will be there in some way or the other, but you have to trust yourself that you're doing the best for yourself and for your family.
Right. I think it's become
Yeah.
like a life skill now to be able to learn how to balance. It's become like a necessity of the day.
Yeah.
Talking about COVID and this lockdown has taught all of us that, we all had to slow down at some point to find
Mhm.
ourselves again, to pursue things that we love doing. So I just
Yeah.
feel, as humanity, as people, we kind of forgot who we truly were. People took on to cooking, learning things online, to dance, to fitness.
Mhm.
They were doing a variety of things, and now
Yeah.
that life is slowly resuming, I can sense that that rush is kind of coming back. People are
Mhm.
again like, on the roads, like waiting to get to work. I can feel that that sense of urgency is there in people, that where I fear that at some point in time they might just forget the pandemic. And I personally don't want people to realize that it should not take another pandemic for them to again slow down. So
It
you
might
are going,
happen though.
it might, yeah. The
I
way
mean,
we
not
were,
another pandemic, but it could be another blow up of the same thing in terms of the number of cases. Because even right now, the number of cases hasn't started reducing or dropping anywhere. It's still very much on the rise. But
exactly,
on the other hand, we're still starting to open up and release the I mean, relax the restrictions and the rules. So it's very likely. It's very likely that will happen again.
yeah. I think
That
that's my
self
biggest
control and self restraint in your movement and your activity is becoming everyone's individual prerogative, and it's going to be hard to manage.
it is going to be hard. And that's my message to people out there, that like regard this time as like a blessing in disguise, that going
Yeah.
forward with life we have to learn, like this was a learning lesson for us, that work is
Yes.
important, having a career, making money is important, but at the same time doing things for yourself is also of utmost importance.
Yeah.
So talking about your dance now, um, now that the lockdown is going to get lifted, what exciting things do you have coming up that we should all be looking forward to? And do you have any
Nothing. No. I
nothing at
don't
all?
have any. No, I mean, see, as far as a dancer's life is concerned, this time of isolation and of being in the studio without thinking about performances and all of that, for me at least, has not been very different in the past, to be very frank. I've not been someone who's been performing like 6 shows a month or something that, no, I've never done that.
Okay.
So, and even for performances to resume, and because it requires public gatherings, right? So when
Right.
it comes to performances, going back to the way they were, it's going to be a long time
It's
before
going
that
to be
happens. I think
about a
the
year.
yeah
Yeah.
performing artists have realized that and are trying to find avenues to do stuff like online performances and stuff like that. Also, it doesn't have the same feeling. Obviously, you can't compare, but anyway, we're all trying to make it work as a community and find our new normal.
New normal.
The
Exactly.
life of a dancer is quite isolated, as a professional dancer. You anyway have to spend so much time in your studio, in your, or even if you don't have a studio access like this, but you got to find your own space at home to practice, which a lot of people don't have. So I think that's going to be something that will help those who get to again go out and go to a place where they can practice. I think dancers are always very grateful for space. We need
The
space
space.
to
Exactly.
practice. So I'm really lucky. I'm really fortunate that I have my studio right here. So for me, in that sense, life has not changed that drastically.
That's fun. All
Yeah.
right.
What had changed in the beginning was that I was staying at my parents' house and we didn't have any help there. So I was spending a lot of time kind of helping out with housework, and there were a lot of us at home. So that the housework increases that much more with the number of. So I didn't have that much time, and with the baby and no help and this and that, it was quite crazy. but now I'm here at my in-laws' house, which is near the studio. So for me, at least, like I'm very, I've ended up becoming the last few weeks very productive in terms of my dance practice, my routine, a new routine with Zoe, and even our classes are online now. So I think for me, the only shift is that I have a little more time now, and I think I'm a little more active on social media. I think that's the only thing I'm doing more. But posting more, share a little bit. That's what I do with my time now, whether it's fitness related, dance related, whatever it is. But I just want to try and share a little bit every week with everyone. But other than that, I'm still happy being a loner. And when I have some new work,
That's
I'm
fun.
working on a few new pieces. So when I have some things ready to present, then it might be another online performance. So
That's
that's
great. I
all.
think I'm looking forward to that a lot. I mean, I've seen, I think, one or two of the performances recently, and I think they were just beautiful. Like, I have
Thank
honestly no
you.
words. They were just so stunning. And again, once again, your baby is really adorable and he's so cute.
Thanks.
You've made him a part of your dance, you've made him a part of your life at the institute. I think that's such a wonderful learning experience for him as well, that from such a
Yeah.
young age he's around music, he's around this beautiful craft. It's going to lead
Even
to
if
such a
he
beautiful
doesn't take
impact.
it up, even if he doesn't take it up, I just like the idea of a child being exposed to art from a young age,
Of
and that
course.
music somewhere it goes in, even if
Right.
not consciously, subconsciously it has an effect. And so yeah.
That's amazing. Thank you so much. I think the whole
Thank
talk,
you.
for all our listeners and for all our viewers, I hope it's made a positive impact on all of you in some
Do
way
we
or
want to
other.
open up? Do we want to
Yes.
open up any questions? Yeah,
I think I'm going to
from
put on the commenting now. And if anybody has any questions, any points that we can ask Nayantara right now, you can just start shooting them in. I think we have a lot of. Do we have any questions, guys, that we can ask Nayantara right
we
now?
can take we can take one or two questions. So, but anyway, yeah. But thanks a lot, Anushri. This has been really
Yes,
nice.
my pleasure. I'm so glad we could have this chat and talk about such different, areas of your life, and most importantly, how you're bringing it all together. And as you said
Yeah,
rightly, that it's so important to take time off for yourself and put things in
yeah,
perspective. Start again. I think every day is a challenge to start again and think
yeah,
fresh about your day, about your week, about your month. And
yeah.
that's my
I
take
mean,
from.
this lockdown, at least this lockdown has been quite different for different people. I think some have taken it as time and opportunity to do more. Some have taken it as a, time to do less and kind of down and relax a little bit. So I think everyone had a different experience in everything. But like you said, I think it's a good reminder to all of us with as in terms of what I think it's helped us prioritize in our minds at least what's really important to us and what we can live without, what we really need to live with and what we can live without. So it's a lot of perspective for all of us.
Absolutely. And I hope everyone continues on this journey. We have one question. That's from
Yes.
Falguni. She's asking that as a student, how should one self assess our dance when we attempt to choreograph a piece?
I think at least my method is there are two things. One is that you watch yourself. I think use technology to its advantage. But invest in a tripod. Everyone needs to invest in a tripod. Every dancer needs a tripod and a camera attachment, a phone attachment for it, so that you can watch yourself all the time and make your notes in terms of like sometimes what you think you're able to do isn't coming across that way. So you can use technology to help guide you. And second is that you can have another person come in who you trust. It doesn't have to be just one person, whoever it is. Another person who can come and watch you and be your third eye. And we were discussing this with Aditi Mangaldas ji, who says that this is a very crucial part of her choreography and production process. Is that she always has another dancer, her own senior students, her a creative someone, artistic director who comes in to view and then give their advice based on someone who you trust. So these, I think, are the two things. There's another question.
Yes. She's
Yeah.
saying that she has long arms and sometimes she feels that her hastak movements don't look as good. And how can she improve on that and make it look soft?
Hastak takes a lot of time. I have been blessed with long arms, but also blessed with two gurus who have laid a lot of stress on practicing Hastak just as is and not doing it, not just doing your todas and tukdas and parans, but separating Hastak practice at once a week minimum, if not more. So generally practice more, observe more, explore more, see if your arm is longer or lower down, what suits you, for every hashtag, try and see. And the other thing is don't think too much about I have long arms, I have long arms, it's a problem. My guru, especially Yogini Didi, has taught me to enjoy stretching and bending equally. And your don't think of it as a problem or as a limitation. I think your body, if you learn how to channel your energy well and channel your movements and your hastak practice well, you can make even your long arms and your long limbs really, really. In fact, I remember one thing on the steps of Bajirao Mastani. We had a little incident where we were practicing at the studio, and Deepika came up to me, and by that point, she remembered my name because everyone knew the tall girl who was, there was only one tall girl, and I'm taller than Deepika a little bit, an inch. So she came to me, and I was so touched that she said this. She said, Nantar, I saw you dancing at the studio the other day, and I just wanted to tell you that you give me hope that even tall girls like me can be graceful.
Wow, that's so lovely.
That was so sweet. And I was very thankful that she said that. And even Sanjay Leela Bansali, when I told Maharaji said, Kya kaha Deepika ne? So I came back and told him what he saw that interaction happen. So I told him what happened, what she said. And Sanjay Leela Bansali was sitting next to him and he said, yes, that's true. Your height is not a disadvantage. Very often as dancers, you associate tall people don't dance or it doesn't look graceful on a tall person. But it's not a disadvantage. If you want to dance, you have to um,
In fact,
find
I
your.
see it as something more graceful, you know. I mean, your height kind of
No,
enhances the
that is, I've worked towards that. It didn't
Mhm.
come naturally. Even that, you have to, that's the thing, that you take something that seems like a limitation and you turn it into your biggest strength, where then people start looking at you and saying, oh, she's so lucky she has long arms, all the husbands look so nice on her. And you're like, ha! Now I work towards that. I work to make something look effortless. Things that take effort look effortless when you put practice into it. It's the same thing.
There's so much hard work into it. Again, it's all
There's
about
no work.
simply accepting, what you look like and who you are, and use that for your
Yeah.
benefit every way
Yes.
possible.
And that transcends into every aspect of your life. You take something and if others think it's a limitation for you, you take that same thing and you turn it into your biggest strength and you see how like life becomes all possibilities open up. Nothing can stop you.
Amazing. That's super. Thank you so much for this
Thank you.
exciting, energetic talk with you. And I hope that in the future we can address more concerns for people and possibly talk about, your one important thing, that is your postpartum, specific postpartum fitness routine and what diet mothers should be taking. I think that's one
Yes,
topic that we didn't have time for today, but I hope
that's
that in
okay.
the
But
near future.
any time in the future, and I'll be happy to write a post about it again. I talk about it now and then, but I'll be happy to write a post on it. If
Super.
anybody else is interested, you guys can DM me if you have anything else you want to talk about or ask. But thanks a lot, and it was really fun. Thank
It
you.
was my pleasure. Thank you so much. Take care and have a wonderful
And
evening.
thanks to everyone for joining in.
Yes. Thank you guys for being a part of this. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you.